Steph Curry and LeBron James duel. Ja Morant shoots the game winner, and Giannis puts up a historic triple-double. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Let's go.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On Fridays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, and host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. John, it was another fun Thursday night. We keep getting these right now.
Basketball is fun, Jake. These teams, these games you might not think are fun at first. They come through. They come through.
They really do. A fun game. Close at times between Steph Curry, LeBron James, the Warriors, and the Lakers. We'll touch on that one. Ja Morant with a pretty incredible game winner, in my opinion, here. And a comment that had social media riled up a little bit too, which was kind of fun. And then Giannis, y'all won't believe his stat line if you didn't see it. So we got a lot to cover here in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night, every game, every night, in under 30 minutes. So let's dive into the late game that was a pretty fun one here if you didn't want to stay up late like we were. 123-116, the Golden State Warriors beat the Los Angeles Lakers. Steph Curry, still Steph Curry here, 37 points for him. He looked awesome in this game. That's his age, by the way. The fact that he is doing this and LeBron James putting up 33 at his age is just absolutely incredible still.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Steph? He continues to get the job done. He moves without the ball, weaving through screen. The way he continues to move really is a testament to like the work. We talk about the work that they put in to still do this. He does not look like he has slowed down at all. It really is incredible to watch. Got to the line 14 times. He keeps taking bumps. He keeps getting hit. Doesn't always even get the calls. He went to the line 14 times and probably could have gone to the line probably 6 or 7 more. It is amazing to watch.
Yeah, I thought, that was something I wanted to bring up. So I'm glad you said it early on in this part here, right? Like, normally when you've seen the Warriors and Lakers play, when they've had Anthony Davis there, it kind of eliminates some of that game for Steph Curry where he can't drive into the paint and score like he does. But all of a sudden, you saw him putting Doncic on skates. He straight up broke Dalton Connect's ankles at one point in this game, which led to that little kind of like scoop shot that he does. It's fun to see him when he's not just a three-point shooter. He's not only just a three-point shooter, but when he can show that other dimension to his game, you forget how shifty he can be in some of the things that he can do.
Yeah. We think of him as a shooter. Obviously, he's also a pretty good point guard. Right. He's also pretty good. He's got incredible handles. He's got incredible passing ability. He is more well-rounded than the narrative would suggest. Like over history, we'll talk about Steph Curry's 3-point shooting, but he's definitely a much more well-rounded player. 6 assists in this game on top of everything. It was an incredible duel by 2 of the game's all-time greats. And that last couple minutes down the stretch, where it was like Steph Curry 3, LeBron 3, Reeves 3, Kevin Harlan. I'm surprised he had a voice at the end because he just kept good.
Oh, he had so much fun. You heard like just the passion coming out of him when it's fun. When the announcers are good and they're into it, it just makes watching the game so much more fun. By the way, let's go over to Locked On Lakers for their perspective on this one before we're going to continue talking about this one for a couple more minutes here.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers lose 123-116 to the Warriors in LA. Very entertaining game for Laker fans. Result notwithstanding, another classic showdown between Steph Curry with 37 points, LeBron with 33. There was a moment late in the fourth quarter where Steph and LeBron exchanged threes, and even with the Lakers down and in serious trouble, LeBron could not help but smile because I think he recognized this is fun, and you can't take these moments between him and Steph for granted. Too much Brandon Pajemski, 22 points in the first half. Too many rebounds and second chance points for Golden State in the second half. Too much Golden State defense throughout, and too little from Luka Doncic. 19 points on 6 of 17 from the field, 0 of 6 from behind the arc. His first game without a made three since April of 2023. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
He mentioned Podziemski there. He was awesome in this game. 28 points for him. He got it going early and I thought set the tone. And then you saw Steph kind of closing it out late.
Yeah, Podziemski scored 13 in the second quarter, including a buzzer beater. That's when you're getting the help from the other guys. And I think the bench points was a big thing here because it was 26. Jonathan Kuminga had 18 off the bench. The Lakers, this is kind of, aside from Luka having a stinker of a game, 7 points from the bench from the Lakers. That's not going to get the job done. And it's tough. Those guys are up and down. Some nights you're going to get a lot. Sometimes you're not. And this was a game where they needed somebody to pick up Luka and they didn't get it.
Yeah, and you've got to win those non-Steph minutes for the Warriors, right? And when you look at all the Warriors bench guys, they were all a positive here. If you're not going to try and win the minutes when Steph isn't on the court, like, good luck when he's kind of on the type of night that he has. I think that was a big part of why they ended up losing this game. But look, we might see these two in a playoff series, which I think would be pretty incredible. The NBA would probably be jumping at the ratings for a Lakers-Warriors series in the first round.
I mean, that for as the 4-5, it's almost like, you're shooting that like too early. You're putting the NBA's dream matchup up like right away, but it would actually be fun and to have a first round like that on top of you're guaranteeing one of those teams would advance. So maybe that is what the league wants, because you're gonna get Lakers or Warriors in the second round, so you get another round of this ratings darling advancing. So maybe that's a good thing.
What'd you think about Draymond in this game?
Draymond is still like, a defensive master. I don't think he's defensive player of the year. Like, he's out there campaigning. He's definitely out there being like, hey, look, this is my last chance to get a defensive player of the year. And so give it to me now. And these other guys, your Evan Mobleys and Jaren Jacksons and those guys, they're plenty of time for those guys. But I still don't think he's at that level anymore. But then again, sometimes you see him, the way he switches, the way he reads things, the way he moves and directs the team and is like constantly like teaching guys and pulling them aside. He's, on top of that, he goes 2 of 4 from 3. And, whenever you get 3-pointers out of Draymond Green, that's also a plus. But still, to see him out there, dropping dimes, playing defense the way he did, he's a special defender, and he still shows that.
Yeah, still shows he's got something left in this one. All right, let's move on to the next game here that we're going to cover in the first segment of today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night, and that is the Orlando Magic beating the Washington Wizards. Let's go over to Locked On Magic for more.
This is Philip Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic, as the Orlando Magic defeat the Washington Wizards 109-97. They take a full game lead over the Atlanta Hawks heading into the 2 games in hand the Hawks have this weekend, and set up a massive sprint for the final 4 games of the season as the Magic try to wrap up the 7 seed and the Southeast Division crown. Paolo Banchero was obviously incredible in this game. 33 points, 18 rebounds, 8 assists. He said he left a lot on the board too, as the Magic were able to kind of ease their way past the Wizards, whereas Washington made it close in the third quarter. They got within 3 points after the Magic built a 19-point lead. Orlando dominated the early part of the fourth and really pulled away. And that's kind of the point here. We're in the last 4 games of the season. The Magic play the Hawks twice, the Celtics and the Pacers, all playoff opponents. So all eyes right now are on the playoffs. They are on what this team has to do to be successful, not only in the play-in tournament, but in the playoffs themselves. It's about playing to the standard. And quite simply, I think the Magic would say and agree, in this game against the Wizards, they did not do that. Yes, there were some incredible performances. The Magic shot the ball decently enough to get the win, but their defense was not quite in tune. They were not at a playoff level. You can get away with that against the Wizards, but you're not going to be able to get away with that in these last 4 games. The Magic know they need to sharpen up, but you'll take the win nonetheless.
All right, John, real or fake here, because that's what we like to do when we are recording together. Boston Celtics want the Orlando Magic as the 7th seed.
I would say that's fake. I would much rather face the Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, the Miami Heat. I think Orlando would be the team that I'd want to face the least. Look, that all of this stuff is correct when it comes to them needing to play better defense and all of that stuff. They also have Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, by the way, who are when they're both cooking and
combined for 60 points in this game.
Yep. That's a tough. They're a tough team. They're a physical team. When they do put it all together, and it's still not out of the question that they can put a tough series together. That's one of those series where obviously I still think the Celtics would be favored, but it would be however they won those 4 games. I think it would be a bruising 4 games. And that's not what you want in that first round. You don't want to have to fight against a big physical team like Orlando. You want a cupcake, baby. So I'm going to say it is fake that the Celtics, I think the Celtics do not want the Orlando Magic.
For the Wizards, rookie Bub Carrington, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Nice performance from him also speaks to the Orlando Magic needing to play better defense. Coming up next, if you were on Twitter, X, after Ja Morant hit his game winner, why were you seeing pigeons everywhere? We're going to explain coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. If you wanted to stay up late and you were watching the Lakers take on the Golden State Warriors, you might have needed a little bit of a boost. So 5 Hour Energy has your back. So whether you're staying up late watching basketball, squeezing in a round of golf after work, which I did this week, don't tell my bosses, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Every Thursday night, I'm up till like 1 or 2 in the morning. I need a boost. 5 Hour Energy, right when that late game start, gets me through the end to give you the best podcast possible. I also love getting outside with that extra hour. And sometimes after a long day at the day job, you just need something to help keep you going. So whether it's traveling, going to a late game, whatever it is, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and is going to keep you feeling refreshed. So head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12 or 24 pack and have it delivered right to your door. And if you need one now, grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're basically everywhere. So stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Wayfair. Spring is here, and that means it's home project season. So whether you're refreshing a room or tackling a full renovation, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things home improvement. We just redid, and this was a simple thing, but I got it all on Wayfair. The cabinet handles in the kitchen, switching out the style, switching out the color, it makes it feel like an entirely new room. I've got plans to upgrade the guest bathroom here, put in a new vanity, maybe some new lighting in there too. And Wayfair's got quality projects for every budget. So their fast and free shipping made it so easy to do whatever you want. There's no hauling heavy items for the store. You don't need a truck or anything like that. It's just coming right to you. And there's top brands like GE, Moen, and others at great prices. And you're going to be able to find exactly what you need to fit your space and style. So Wayfair makes home improvement easy. Get started now at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We're here 7 days a week covering every single game across the association. Look, there's some late games, and it's pretty fun to watch those, or historic performances every single night. We're covering it all here. Every game in the association on Locked On NBA Game Night. By the way, don't forget that your favorite team, you're already listening to the Locked On show. We know that, but you can get it in your inbox now. Your one-stop shop for your favorite team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox with your Locked On favorite team, Pelicans, Celtics, Lakers, Warriors, daily newsletter. You can go to lockedondaily.com to subscribe and start your day with the all-new free Locked On newsletter. All right, John, let's keep firing through these games here. And let's go to the Ja Morant game winner. The Memphis Grizzlies winning 110-108. A Ja Morant kind of fadeaway mid-range jumper as time expires. That was a fun one. We'll get to the pigeon thing in here in a second. But let's go over to Locked On Grizzlies for more on this game. This is one of my favorite shorts that I've ever seen.
Who'd have thunk after the last 10 games that the Memphis Grizzlies have had, after all of the craziness of the last few weeks and days with the head coach being fired, for Memphis to get back in their winning ways, all they'd have to do is call 12. I'm Joe Mullinax of Locked On Grizzlies, and it was a shootout in Miami there late between Tyler Hero and Ja Morant, a real duel between two gunslingers. Ja Morant hitting the final shot, the kill shot to pick up the victory over the Miami Heat. And it was quite the trigger finger that Morant had late in the contest. He knew he'd have to go it alone. He didn't have others to help him as much. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a really good game. Desmond Bane did some good things. But at the end of it all, Ja Morant, being the star that the Memphis Grizzlies needed him to be, no matter what the Miami Heat defense did, it was Ja that was there to put the final bullet in the clip for the Memphis Grizzlies in that game.
See what he did there? Or was the subtlety lost on you?
Picking up on something there.
Look, if we gave out like internal Locked On awards, I'd probably give it to that one. That's a pretty good one. Him, and then whatever Matt George of Locked On Kings has an awful night and just comes in with an incredible open to the show.
Hot with
Oh, those are some of the best things here. This is why you got to go look at other Locked On shows just to see what they're putting out there, even if you're not your favorite team, because you could be missing something here. Ja Morant, 30 points, including the game winner as time expired for the 110-108 win. What were you seeing on social media, John, after this game ended, though?
Pigeons, baby. Pigeons. Pigeons everywhere. Which was, I was like, because I didn't hear the post-game interview. And then all of a sudden you're like, there's Ja asking, what did you see in that final play? Is it a pigeon guarding me? And that was, you want to explain that one, Jake?
Yeah. So like, I think people maybe don't get like the full context around this one here. And so one, that just sounds funny by itself. Like that just sounds really, really funny to me. A pigeon guarding me. And it was Khalil Ware who was guarding him on a switch. And so pigeon or duck is an internal term that NBA teams use for basically the weak defender that you want to pick on. So him going a pigeon guarding me, he's taking a bit of a, dare I say, shot at Khalil Ware here by just being like, yeah, I had a terrible defender on me, so I was going to be able to score and shoot over it. So when I got the ball and he was guarding me, I saw a game winner, and that's what he did here. But that's a term that teams will use when they're running through their defensive or their offensive sets of like attack the pigeon, attack the duck. That's what they're trying to say. You identify who that is, you try and force that guy to switch on to you, and then you attack him and basically just score on him.
Yeah, I mean, isn't skeet shooting? Don't you shoot clay pigeons when you go skeet shooting?
Yeah, maybe that's where it comes from. Actually, that kind of makes sense.
That could be it. Yeah. Look, the Ja did everything. The Heat had no answers. I'll overlook the extended arm push off on Khalil Ware there for the step back. It was a great shot, and you get into the teeth of the defense. You get that little double step back and nice soft touch. Ja is an incredible player, and for all of the jokes aside, because he continues to make the gun gestures. So if you continue to make the gun gestures,
no finger guns in this one, but he did like a rifle kind of gesture after making a three in this one.
I mean, if there's a Memphis fan out here that's like, why do you guys keep doing this? Like, it's not us, man. He keeps doing it. He's the one that keeps doing it. And the league, like the league was like, hey, stop. We know what you're doing. Stop. And so he does something different. He's going to, if he doesn't want his money, that's fine. There's some charity's going to get $10,000 out of that. That's great. But still, regardless, Ja is incredible. He continues to be incredible when he's playing like this. Memphis is a very dangerous team. If he's shooting like this, like 3 of 7 from 3, getting to the line. Look, like I said, Miami tried everything to stop him. They had nothing. They could not do it.
Yeah, let's go over to the Miami Heat for their perspective on this one.
Well, Miami's 6-game win streak comes to an end at the hands of Ja Morant. A really fun game between the Heat and the Grizzlies. 19 lead changes in this game. Both teams going back and forth. Tyler Hero, Ja Morant scoring back and forth during the fourth quarter. Tyler Hero hits a floater that ties the game with about 20 seconds left, and then Ja Morant comes back, hits the game winner to end Miami's 6-game losing streak. But look, it was a hard-fought game. It was a fun game. Miami playing on the second night of a back-to-back after a statement win in Boston last night. So it's hard to feel too bad about this if you're the Heat. They played really well. Tyler Hero played like a star. He outscored Ja Morant in this game. Ja Morant, remember, this is the guy who Tyler Hero included on his list of star guards that he wanted to be in the same conversation as. If you recall that quote from him, I want to be in the same conversation as Ja Morant, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, guys like that. Well, the way Tyler's been playing this season, he's been in that conversation, obviously an all-star, but to go toe-to-toe with Morant and almost come away with a win because of his heroics in the fourth quarter, that's a big deal. The Heat get back to business here. They fall 2 losses behind the Hawks for the 8th seed in the play-in tournament, so that might be the biggest big-picture takeaway in terms of the standings. But again, hard to feel bad about it if you're the Heat. More on this game over at Locked On Heat. I'm Wes Goldberg.
Look, at least he's kind of calm after something like that. But at this late in the season, every win kind of matters here, it feels like.
Well, look,
You need
Miami
those, I
just
guess, yeah.
Miami just went on a 6-game winning streak after a 10-game losing streak. So, everything is pretty nice over there. They are knocking on the door of the 7-8 in trying to get up and face Boston. I'm sure Miami would love to face Boston. It's that matchup just has historical juice. So, maybe there's something there, but like they have had a couple of quality wins recently. That win over Boston, I'm sure they loved it. So a loss on a back-to-back to Memphis on a buzzer beater, I'm sure they're hey, it's fine.
Yeah, you're fine. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Minnesota over Brooklyn, 105-90. Let's go over to Locked On Wolves for more.
Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Brooklyn Nets by 15 points on Thursday night for the Wolves' 4th consecutive win. Rudy Gobert, a massive 21-18 game. He locked down the paint defensively, a couple of blocks, but the impact was greater than just the block shots. When he wasn't in the game, the Nets could score at the rim. When he was in the game, a Brooklyn team that struggles to make shots simply struggled to make shots. They only took the shots the Wolves forced them to take with Rudy Gobert and drop coverage. On the offensive side of the ball, Gobert was efficient, 9 of 10 shooting, got to the free throw line 6 times, scored a bunch for the Wolves in this game, which is not typically what happens. Anthony Edwards led the team in scoring at 28 points, survived a brief injury scare. He rolled his ankle by stepping on the Nets head coach's foot in the first half, left the game for the second part of the second quarter, but was back after halftime. Looked no worse for the wear. Plenty of Ant fans in Brooklyn as well at Barclays Center, and a great close to the game for the Wolves as they held the Nets at arm's length and eventually pulled away. Make sure to subscribe to Locked On Wolves for all things Timberwolves.
So good team plays bad team. No one scored 20 points for the Brooklyn Nets in this one.
They're not a good team. And yeah, that's basically the biggest takeaway here is the Minnesota win continues this logjam in the West they are 2 games behind Denver. Denver is the 3rd seed. Minnesota is in the play-in tournament. That is an unfortunate logjam out West.
It's going to be a battle till the very end, and teams are looking at like 7 max games left. So it's going to be a fight to the end, which means you need to be listening to Locked On NBA Game Night daily so you know what's going on and which teams are trending in the right direction. One player that's trending in the right direction is Giannis, historic, never before happened stat line in their win. We'll tell you what that was coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Open Phone. Running a small business means you're wearing a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone, and before you know it, you're juggling customer calls all day and all night. And as your team grows, it's basically impossible to manage everything with just your personal number. So that's where Open Phone comes in. It's the #1 business phone system designed to help you keep your work and personal life separate. So for just $15 a month, that's like 2 coffees. You get complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business phone number. Open OpenPhone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you'll have a rundown of your calls and action items the second you hang up. And if you miss a call, no big deal. Automated messages are sent directly to your customer, ensuring you never miss an opportunity to engage. So right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/lockedonnba. That's openphone.com/lockedonnba for 20% off 6 months. Openphone.com/lockedonnba. And if you got an existing number with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering everything you want to know about the association. There are fun things happening in every single game. For your second listen today, well, my second listen is definitely going to be Locked On Grizzlies after that Ja Morant game winner and what that means for the rest of their season. Go make that your second listen. You might want to make Locked On Bucks your second listen with what Giannis put up in this one. It's pretty incredible. In the Milwaukee Bucks 126-113 win over the Philadelphia 76ers, Giannis, get this, 35 points, 20 assists, 17 rebounds. That has never happened before in NBA history.
I can understand, obviously, the points. 17 rebounds.
Sure.
I get it. Sure. 20 dimes. And let me tell you something about all of these assists. All legit. And I am one of the most vocal critics about assists in today's NBA, where you give the guy the ball on the perimeter, and just because he makes a quick move to the basket, but still takes 3 dribbles and makes an individual move to get there, and that ends up going down as an assist. I'm like, that is not an assist. These are inflated numbers. Giannis's 20 assists, I think maybe one took 2 dribbles. Everything else was 1 dribble, no dribble, catch and shoot. These were 20 legitimate assists. He made one from the right block, getting double teamed, whipped like this hook pass cross court to Taurean Prince, who nailed a corner. Well, it's a corner 3, like right at the break. It was just, I'll continue, a bullet, a bullet to Taurean Prince that right in the pocket. The passes he was making were great. And it leads to 56% shooting, 51.5% shooting from 3. And that's how you pile up 126 points on 82 shots. It was a masterclass by Giannis.
Yeah, just an incredible performance from him again. Never been done in NBA history with a stat line like that. Let's go over to Locked On Bucks for their take here.
The Milwaukee Bucks beat the zombie 76ers 126-113. With the Pistons being idle tonight and the Bucks getting this win, they find themselves back in 5th place in the East. And how did the Bucks get this win over the zombie Sixers? A historic performance from Giannis Antetokounmpo. The very first 35-point, 20 assists, 15 rebound, triple-double in NBA history. Only 3 other people have had a 35, 20, 15 game. Jokic and Wilt, because who else would it be? They just didn't hit that 20 assist mark like Giannis did. Just a historic evening for Giannis. And the Bucks need for Giannis to be a playmaker, especially without Damian Lillard out. Now, I don't know how sustainable it is for him to be getting 20 assists going forward, but the playmaking gene has been in Giannis's game. And it's something that the Bucks are going to need to continue to lean on for as long as Damian Lillard finds himself out. But a crazy, crazy performance from Giannis. Again, reminding people why he is one of the best to ever pick up a basketball. The best. Like, one of them.
You're still going before I moved it. My bad there. So also worth mentioning, Doc Rivers fell ill in this game, left, and you saw Darvin Ham finish out coaching. So hope that he's okay. But yeah, man, just Giannis. Like, it's just like, got nothing else to say here.
Yeah. I almost think that almost as impressive as all the other numbers for Giannis is just 2 turnovers. Yeah. To have 20 assists, to make that many passes, and only turn the ball over twice is incredible to me. That's, I mean, it may say as much about how bad the Philly defense was. And look, it was all drive and kicks, and like not all, but most driving kicks, a lot of collapsing defense, a lot of three guys collapsing on Giannis and leaving guys wide open. So there may be nobody left to steal the ball as he got into the passing lanes and all of that, but that was impressive. Giannis, between the points and the assists, 10 of them were for three-pointers, so he accounted for 85 of Milwaukee's points via score or assist. That's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts here. It was also announced today, by the way, like no one played for Philly. No one's been playing for Philly.
Well, Maxey's out now for the season. He's
I was going to say, done for the year. They are shamelessly tanking. Them and the Utah Jazz. The NBA should be looking at both those teams right now. That's a discussion for another day. So one more game here in the association. And
Talk about tanking. That is the Portland Trailblazers beating the Toronto Raptors 112-103. Let's go over to Sean Woodley and Locked On Raptors here.
7th in the lottery is nigh. Sean Woodley here outside Scotiabank Arena after the Toronto Raptors fell 112-103 to the Portland Trailblazers on Thursday night in a game that was certainly a basketball game between two not especially interested in winning basketball games teams in Toronto and Portland. It was cool to watch Shaedon Sharpe drop 36 points, the most a Canadian player has ever scored against the Toronto Raptors. That's about as notable as things got in this one. You had Jacoby Walter doing some nice little king things for the Raptors. Scotty Barnes continues to play weird basketball where he's playing in games but not especially trying. And before the game, Darko Rajakovic, the Raptors head coach, said, yeah, he's been hurt with like a finger injury, a hand injury for a couple of months now. And yeah, he's still playing because he wants to play. He wants to get run. He wants the conditioning. He missed a lot of time at the end of last year, at the start of this season. He wants to play basketball. Is it doing anything for his development? Not really. Is it doing anything for the Raptors? Not really, because he's not playing very well. He's not really shooting the ball at all. And so, yeah. Well, there's Toronto traffic for you. Either way, yeah, it was a strange basketball game. There was some fun highlights here and there, but overall, two tanking teams running out the clock is very much the story here in Toronto tonight.
Yeah, the NBA might have a tanking problem here. Not one player played over 30 minutes for the Raptors in this game, which just like tells you a lot there.
Just incredible. I literally have nothing to add to this game.
They traded for Brandon Ingram, and he hasn't played one game for them, right? Like it's, and they don't want him to. Yeah, we got nothing else. There's a tanking problem in the NBA. Look, Pelicans shut everyone down too. I'm not one to judge. I get it. It's important. There you go. Historic night for Giannis, not a historic night for the Portland Trailblazers or the Toronto Raptors, I guess, other than Shaedon Sharpe putting up 36 points. As he said, that's the most a Canadian player has scored in Toronto. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On NBA Game Night, ending on a high note right there. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Front-loaded the show, my man, here. On Fridays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at Nolan Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
I mean, are people really yearning for Blazers Raptors discussion here?
That's in the A block here. We got to tease it in the beginning, right?
All right. And on Fridays, I'm also one of your co-hosts. I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
This has been Locked On NBA Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, your games every day, your league every day. The Raptors have thrown me off here. We're going. Goodbye. We'll see you all next week.